Hi there, I'm Carol Ann at Three Keys Yoga. First of all, I want to say thank you to Dave, not only for me, but for everything that you are doing out there in this world. It is scary, crazy times, and people are becoming hateful and selfish. And what I have seen from your videos, you are a remarkable human being, and I want to be like you someday. That's what I aspire to do, is help others. That's what I've always aspired to do. My name is Carol Eastman, and I have a yoga studio called Three Keys Yoga in Summerville, South Carolina. Now, my story is that I grew up in Ohio. 43 years of my life, I grew up in Ohio. I was a high school English teacher. I taught freshmen and seniors for 20 years. I loved my students. I've always loved my students. Everything I ever did was to try to better the lives of my students. I was the drama director, the cheerleading advisor, the prom advisor. I did it all just because I enjoyed my time with them. When we moved to South Carolina, I started teaching down here. And the more I taught down here, the more I started to see a disconnect with students, with people, and I found it so depressing. People weren't connecting as human beings anymore. They weren't sharing their lives, sharing their stories. So I started working towards that with my students. But they were stuck on devices and laptops and cell phones and PS4s and all of that, and they weren't opening up. And Summerville is a transplant state, like a transplant city. Everybody's from somewhere else. Where I lived in Ohio, everybody lived there all their lives. They went to kindergarten, high school, went to college nearby, and came back and had their families there. That wasn't like that down here in Summerville. So I started to do things to make my students really connect and really learn how to love each other and be a part of their lives. So I wanted to learn more. So I started taking more and more yoga classes, and then I got yoga certified to become a yoga instructor, which was scary because clearly I don't have the body type to be a yoga instructor, or for people to listen to me and say, hey, you need to do this for your body and your health and your well-being. And they're looking at me and I'm like, no, listen, I used to weigh 300 pounds and this is what I've done. You just have to strive for your goals. And so I was able to start teaching yoga, and I started teaching it in my classroom. I taught American history and American literature. And so my students were learning about transcendentalism, which is really just Thoreau, Emerson, Whitman. They were just a bunch of hippies anyway. So we could do yoga and make it part of class. Well, they wanted more. So I started staying after school and doing yoga classes for free. Then their parents started to come, and more people wanted to start coming to yoga. Well, in New York, in Ohio, there's yoga on every corner. That is not the case down here. I had to drive 40 minutes to take a yoga class when I was taking yoga classes. It's not because it's super far, it's the traffic. Traffic made me drive 40 minutes. In Ohio, 14 minutes away is 14 miles. In here, that takes 40 minutes. So I started to see this need for yoga, and I talked it over with my husband, and I said, hey, what if we opened a yoga studio? And he's like, what? I'm not a business owner. I taught high school English. I mean, I didn't know anything about business. Luckily, I have that husband who graduated with a business degree and a marketing degree, and he was able to help me. So we threw caution to the wind, and we decided to open a small business. I resigned my teaching position, and I opened a yoga studio on December 7th, 2019. And I had all the aspirations that this was going to be such a success. And you know what? December was good. And then January of 2020, we were doing well. I mean, I don't want to say, well, we've never made a profit because we had just opened, but we were able to pay our employees. And then in February, we were able to pay our employees, and we could pay some utility bills. So we were building, and we were super excited. We couldn't wait for March. Well, March 18th, Governor McMaster said, you have to close down. And I was devastated. And we went to Zoom, but we had 69 members, monthly members, and we were happy about that. But by April, we were back down into the 30s. And now we were able to reopen in May, but it's been a struggle. People aren't coming back. We have limited capacity, we have restrictions, and they're afraid. And I don't want to close this yoga studio because, like I said, it's a transplant state. People are writing in their reviews about the studio about how they finally feel like they have a place, a family, a home. And that's what I wanted to create. All I've ever wanted to do is help people. If you want to know more about me, I have a YouTube video called Just an English Teacher, Carol Eastman, Just an English Teacher. When I was teaching high school, my students would have these scary, dark moments. So I taped an anti-suicide video called Just an English Teacher. I put it up on Facebook, and there were like 600,000 views. My students have told me over the years, they've written me letters saying that I was the reason they didn't commit suicide. Because time gets dark and things get scary. And I wanted to be able to help them. And I want to be able to help everyone now, just not teenagers. I want teenagers here. We do family flows so parents and kids can come together and learn how to unwind and fight this chaos and this anxiety and stop and release some stress as a family, connect. Because that's what we need to do as a society, is connect. And you, Dave, you're doing that. You're making people connect. You're making people happy, and that's all I've ever wanted to do. We have Home of Hope. It's a men's homeless shelter down here. The third Friday of every month, my yoga studio, the instructors and the yogis get together and we make dinner for them. This Friday is actually Home of Hope, February 19th. So we're doing breakfast for dinner. We're making sausage casseroles, egg casseroles, pancakes. People are bringing Pop-Tarts, all of that, because we want to give back. That's what we do. My front desk assistants, I only have 5 of them, but we paid them through the whole pandemic. They're high school girls that were in my classes that needed connection, that needed people. I reached out to them and said, how would you like a job? My yoga instructors, I have quite a few of them who this is their only income. One of them, she's cleaning the studio for extra money because the other yoga studios she taught at closed down. She cleans my house. She is struggling. I have quite a few who are struggling. This is their income. I am so lucky because I have a husband who busts his butt at his quote unquote real job that gives him bonus checks. Without my husband's bonus checks, we wouldn't be afloat today. We would have closed our doors. He's paying our rent, he's paying our employees with his bonus checks. He works his butt off to keep us afloat. My son is going to college in the fall. My stepdaughter's getting married in April. We are in our college funds and marriage funds just to keep my studio, my dream of staying open, here today. So I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna do it, truthfully. I'm so lucky to have my husband. I'm so proud of him for standing beside me and letting me do this and not saying, I told you so, or being mad that we're going broke, personally as well as professionally. We don't want to file bankruptcy, but I don't want to stop helping people either. I want to forever help people. I wish I was on the other end of this, that I could be giving money to other companies and other businesses so they don't have to feel like a failure, so they don't have to close the doors and disappoint all the people that they had been helping. I always thought of this phrase, it doesn't make you weak. I always heard this phrase, it doesn't make you weak to admit that you need help. I need help. I want to succeed. I want to do this. I don't know how we can. We're looking at, $7,000 a month for the next 2 or 3 months. That's it. But right now, that's a ton of money for us. That's what we need. I think if we can get to June, we can do this. But I don't know. I have the courage, I have the strength to ask for help. We need help. This little yoga studio, I want to make a world of difference here. And I need your help to do so. Thank you, Dave. Thanks for listening. 3 Keys Yoga in Somerville. And go ahead, watch that video, Just an English Teacher. That's who I am. Thank you. Bye.